Well, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, depending on where I have the pleasure joining you from. Wanted to just give you a big welcome to our demo series here. This is the spring demo series, and depending where you are, and you can tell from maybe a little bit of my raspy voice, the change in temperature up here in New England is just upon us, so we are desperately ready for spring here with the Boston Marathon on the corner next Monday. Well, thanks for joining. I know there's a few people that are coming on here, but in interest of time, we are also going to be recording this. So if you're joining us on our YouTube site or from a previous recording, thanks for being on here. Those folks that are on, there is a chat screen that you're able to go on and make sure that you ask those questions appropriately. And throughout the time here, we're going to be a little informal with those questions. So just send them in and I'll do my best to answer them. Today, it's all about talking in and around some of the new features. We're going to take a look at Agile as well as the roadmap feature, and also talk about this thing called DevOps and what that's going to present to us for Microsoft Project Online, as well as some of the reporting. So we're going to jump into it. Probably not going to be doing a full half hour today. Really going to be targeted here and get into what you need to see. Again, we're going to talk about the Agile, get into the roadmap, and then do our Project Home discussion, and then answer any questions that are out there. For those on the line that haven't been to one of our webinars before, we're PPM Works. My name is Jacques Goupil. Been around since just about 1998, working on Microsoft Project, one of the first implementations of a server-based solution back there at P Central or Project Central, if those folks know, back in the day, all the way up through the exciting new modern project that's being released on the Dynamics platform this end of spring, probably summertime as well. I do invite you to link in with me, get connected, and also, reach out to PPM Works. We have a bunch in this demo series. If there's something on here that piques your interest, make sure you take a look at it, and you also can forward this recording as well as the demo series link down at the bottom to any of your colleagues or friends that might want to jump on. These are going to be short, defined demonstrations and webcasts in this case, and really just get to the point. That's what we want to be, as if we were sitting right next to you. Make sure we answer some of those questions. Coming down, we're definitely have some other webinars beyond just the webcast that we talked. This is where it's going to be a true more webcast version, about an hour long, and going to walk through the pieces of Microsoft PPM. Starting off this week, getting into the intake and using Power Apps, which is kind of cool. A lot of businesses today are asking for, how do we make, as an IT organization, how do we make it a little more engaging? How do we give them the fresh look and feel to do anything from project requests all the way to capturing lessons learned? Then getting into some tips around security and Power BI. That's always a big hit and topic there. Folks are asking about reports. How can we share those? Teams. The wave of Teams has come. Yeah, if you haven't heard of it, or if you're not on it, you might want to join this webinar here, as we're going to talk about everything within Teams to make sure that you're saving yourself time and becoming efficient in and around the PPM space, but also with other activities that you have on a day-to-day basis. And then lastly, rounding out the month of March here, we're going to be getting into understanding not only how to customize, but also getting into some of those project sites and doing some templates and things of the like. Whether you're using Flow to generate some of those templates or some of these other goodies that are out there. So we are going to get into those three features that we talked about, Agile, Home, and Roadmap. Make sure that you're not only using it, but you're getting into the demonstration, and we're not just, like you say, going through some of these slides. So Agile, what does it mean? Well, I sort of like to call it, and folks do this Wagile or Waterfall mix with Agile there, right? So Wagile or Agile Fall or other types. Within the product, you might have seen already, and for those that haven't, in Project Professional, you can go in and start a project, and it actually is going to create a sprint project, and you'll be able to have a task board in there. What you're going to be doing today is we're going to open this up within the tool set, take a look, okay, of how we do an Agile project, and also get into, some of the basics with Project Agile. Now, first of all, I'm going to open up and bring in Microsoft Project Professional for us so we can go ahead and see that. And there we go. Now, again, I do need to say this is Project Online Professional. And as you're going to go in and I say File New, right here, I can see that I create a sprints projects. When you go off and create one of these sprints projects, it's going to be blank, as you can see here. And we're dropped into this sprint area. You can do a lot of things in here. You can go ahead and just simply say, hey, we want to actually manage this, manage our sprints. And you can go in and defaults to today, but you can actually change these. And you can also change the duration and different things like this, whatever you'd like to do there. Also adding different sprints and the like. All of this within the tool set, and you can see now I have 4 sprints here as well. Right-clicking, as I like to do on everything, to do that. Also, I'm going to show you I'm going to put a little data in here, and we're going to go over to our customization. Now, in here, there are some views that are created, both planning and task as well. Now, rather than, and you can see here, I can say, develop, design, strategy, if you will. And I could do this, and the webinar would be over by the time I finish typing in all these, right? Right-clicking on here in the information just brings up our same task information that we had before. Everything in there, I can actually go in and assign someone and go off to do that. Well, rather than walking through something like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just bring up one of our other projects that I have in here. And this is the Eagle Development Project. You can see now I have a bunch of project tasks. We happen to be on a Gantt chart here. But if I go over to some of those other areas and we have that task board that you saw here, I can see that everything is in this not complete started. And you could say, okay, well, next up, what does that mean? Well, in this case, I'm going to actually put 25% here in progress. Yeah, just keep consistent here. I'm going to put 50. And then I have this complete are done here. And if you're like any of the development crews that I know, we go in and ask them and they say, hey, are you folks done? And they say, yeah, we're done. Say, okay, we'll send it over. Well, I got a little more to do. So all joking but kidding aside here, you can add a complete or a done stage here. So now I have all my things here. I can see that not started. I'm going to put my 0. Why am I going through this? Well, I'm in Microsoft Project and I can actually progress my tasks right through this sprint tool and this format right in here. Now, I said I was going to show you a couple things. If I right-click on here, I can see that I can add some. I can mark things to complete, move it to the next sprint. So what does that look like? Obviously, it takes us here. We move it over here versus the sprint, okay? And there's 2 different things here. Right now, we're looking at more of a task or Kanban situation going, and we're going to look at some of the sprint areas too. Before I do that, I'm going to go up to the format here. It's a dynamic toolbar, and I'm going to hit my custom. Now, this is where folks say, hey, how did you get all these things in here? I'm going to go ahead and show some different things. You can show right now up to 5 different things. You can see my percent completes here. Maybe I want to add in this case, I have my resource, and I might want to add in some baseline activity or maybe just my work. So let's go ahead and just put in my work here. You folks get the point as you go through here. Notice I can also go in here and put my sprint numbers in just for kill reference. So you can see that I have my different sprints in here. I have some information. I have all this good stuff. And as I progress this thing, let's just, in this case, my design doc, rather than move it across here, I'm going to write and mark it as 100% complete. Now, 2 different things here. I can mark 100% complete, or I can actually go back in here and just undo that. How am I going to do that? Multi-level undo, folks. So right here, just go back, undo. And if I slide this over to my complete, notice it's going to be 100% as well. So two different ways when you're taking a look at task boards, and we're getting into the Agile functionality here. Folks like this view. It's a task board view. You can drag and drop. You can do different things. Now, under our different views that we have, you can see them on the left-hand side. I also have my sprint board, okay, in this area. And if I move over to my sprint board here, now this right here is showing me something similar, okay? But it's also showing me those other tasks that I have, or I don't have in this case, on my sprint. So if we're going to take a look at this and I go over to my Gantt chart, there's two things that I want to show you. One happens to be this sprint category, and the other is my show on board, okay? Now this show on board actually shows it on the task board, okay? And you're gonna know if I don't have it, then it's more of a waterfall task right here. So I'm actually showing you today a blend of hybrid, meaning waterfall tasks, things that aren't potentially shown, and that makes sense. We're doing the requirements, you know, we don't have to do it iterative, potentially. Design might be more of an agile approach. And then we get back into, you know, documentation and other things that also might be waterfall in this case. I also have some milestones that I've set in this case for some reporting. All these features, again, more out of the box, but you start to do these combinations of views with Agile, okay, and the out of the box features that you get there. And now you're starting to paint the picture here. Before I jump off here, I've made some progress here. I'm just going to go in here and complete just a couple other tasks. Why am I doing that? Just so we can see some different things. I'm also going to go in here and just make sure that I have a couple things filled out in my project information, which I do, and on my current date. And I'm going to put my status date, okay, of today as well. Why am I doing that? Because I'm going to go over here and take a look at one of my reports that's out of the box here. And if I go into my reports, I can see that there's a bunch of different reports here. And one of the reports is my task board. So I'm going to go in here and take a look at my task board status today. And I can see that I'm 14% out of here. I have some remaining tasks. And on the right-hand side, I can see what's coming up. If I want to change some of this, okay, here's, remember, that done status, okay? But I can actually click in here. It's a power pivot, folks. So as I come over here, I can add things, in this case, filter right here. I can do some grouping and sorting and all this great stuff. And I can also come in here and say, well, I don't really want to call it task by task board. This is just going to be board status. You can go in here and update these to your heart's content. Click and go ahead. Another couple areas that folks like to see again within here is current sprint versus sprint status. And if I take a look at my sprint status, where am I? 1, 2, 3. How many? Might show a count here. You could do different things like that. And then actually showing you where I am within our sprint, as you can see here, indicated by orange. So again, project professional, taking a look at Agile feature and functionality. I showed you a couple different views that are in here. And it also, I see a question that's coming over. What happens to our Gantt chart and other things? Yes, as you can see, I'm excited. I like to talk a little fast here, but I'll show that again in case you did miss it or you're just joining. All of our tasks that are in here are in that Gantt chart. They're still here. You still can take a look there. You just have these other areas in other views to take a look at my Agile in itself. Okay, I'm going to go over, see if there are any other questions there. Yes, there is a question that's coming up here. I have two of them. I'm going to answer them in the order that they came in, and then I'll comment on the comment there. This is Project Professional, but online. So you need to have Project Online Professional to have this capability. And yes, our friends there that are pinging in there, Jeremy and Paul and Sam, thank you very much there. Yes, hybrid options are double thumbs up, really cool for you to get in and start doing that. I would give a one warning just to pause here. If you're going to be rolling this out or exploring this with other folks, understand how you want to portray this. Just, you can show this demonstration like I did, but or that I'm doing today, and then sit back and say, okay, you just saw this, right? How do we want to implement this? And do we need to implement it the same for all projects? And I hope the answer at the end there is no. Let project managers manage how they want and show and do what they want to do there. Was there any, is there anything else in the sprints ribbon? Thank you for the question. Moving over here. This planning board just shows you those different areas, and we already showed you some of the planning board here, and I can see all my sprints. The sheet, it's kind of a silly view, but I will show it to you folks. It's literally just the sheet like a Gantt chart, okay? But we're only looking at sprints. So it's doing some filtering, some grouping, some sorting, and showing you, okay, what is associated to a sprint only in this case. And if it isn't associated to a different sprint, okay, then it wouldn't be in there. All right, I think those are the questions here. Let me see, one more that looks like it's coming through here. Sure, so the question was talking about things moving from our Gantt chart view as well as our list board. I want to go back to that, and it's talking about two different things. Is within our project, and we're moving things to 100% complete. Yes, you can do that. There are two things, and it's really understanding how you're measuring things to 100% complete. So I'm going to actually go back to, let's just go back to my task board here in this case. So the question was this. You can see that this is 100% complete here. And I also, within this progression, okay, it's not over here in my done. Question is, why is that, and is it a bug? Actually, it's not, and what this is showing here is there are two ways to actually go ahead and move it. Within this view, I happen to be looking at a task board itself, and I have my different buckets up here, and I'm literally just throwing things in different buckets, okay? So I can drag and drop, and that will assign my percent complete, as you see here. However, if my percent complete comes in through a different status or a different area, okay, and I'm looking at a particular task board in this self, okay, that's where I'm gonna see potentially a difference in my percent complete versus my buckets. Literally, these are buckets. When I move things into a bucket, it will get that percent complete, as you can see here. So I mentioned when you roll this out, if we're talking about best practice for percent complete, in this case, let's do it with the task board and drag and drop, or let's not do it over here and let's do it within a different view, the Gantt chart, etc. Good question. All right, so that's Agile. We're going to shift on gear and get back to our next topic, which is going to be getting into our roadmap. So roadmap is not the future of where we're going with Microsoft Project and Microsoft Tools, although that is a roadmap and it's out there as well. We are talking about roadmap, the feature set within PPM. What does it do? It provides us with, I really like it as a portfolio view. It's giving us that big picture, okay, of anything that you put on the roadmap. And it says projects that are underway. Yes, it could be projects. It could be DevOps projects. In the future, the near future, it is going to be planner plans or projects, if you like to call them. They're really plans, but anything within Microsoft, we can start to pull within this road mapping feature. Now today, it is April 9th. It is actually my dad's 70th birthday. There's a plug for him, so happy birthday there. And there are two features here within Roadmap: the ability to connect to Microsoft Project, as well as DevOps, or taking a look at the DevOps piece and bringing that in. Right now, not Planner and not some other tools. In the near future, yes. So yes, you can see all your work right now in that one place. Double thumbs up there. How is this going to affect us, and what is this roadmap, and how do I use it? You have it today. It's April, like I said, 2019. It should be in your tenant. If you're using Project Online and you don't see it, ask your admin because they need to actually turn it on. Once you have your roadmap set up from Project Home, you can go ahead and create it. It doesn't impact anything that you're currently doing for your existing projects. You can add existing projects into your roadmap. You can add new projects into your roadmap. It's not going to change anything within the project. It does not push data from a roadmap into project, and I'll talk about that when we're showing it. What do you need? We already talked about it. You need professional license, meaning Project Online, professional, or premium, and you do need that admin to go ahead and enable or literally click the box to say, yes, I'm going to do it. So in here, you need to start off. Where do you go ahead and create these? I like to create these, and right now, if you don't have a back entrance into it, your users are going to create it from the home page, okay? And they're actually going to go through the project homepage, say create new, okay? Here's the roadmap or the project that we talked about, and create a project, in this case, the schedule here from the project Peregrine, and you can select your different tasks on that project and add it in. Now, you also could add in from DevOps. Now, if DevOps, you haven't heard about your Azure boards over there, DevOps is an area right now that's focused on new product developments or coding, let's say, and right now, but it doesn't have to be just on coding. You could remove sort of that coding language and terminology, and if you're using Agile and you want storyboards and epics and issues and tasks and things like that, you can go ahead and do that. And I'll show you some of that when we get in there. But this is sort of the go back and listen and take a look at the slides. In step 3, you're really going to be going in there and adding a row, creating that project, and then going in and adding those row items that you have. So that's what you're going to be doing. Going in, showing your roadmap pieces, whether it's a row or the detail from both Microsoft Project or from Agile DevOps. Okay, so let's go in here and take a look at this together. I'm going to just switch over here to my view, and we're going to pull up a roadmap here. So while we do that, we go to our office.com, or in this case, just our home page here. And for those that access PWA, you know, the Project Online instance, you might come from, you know, just the home page. But I want to open up 2 things for you back to back here and show you what you probably used to see as a home page and what we're calling the home page today. So what you used to see, and you still can get access to this, is, you know, your URL, you go out to the name of your environment, and your default shows this homepage, which is nice. We have a lot of tiles on here. We can see everything, we can do reports, and we can navigate everything over here. That's great. From our waffle up here, we can go into Microsoft Project over here. That's the project homepage that we just talked about. So again, going into the Office Navigator, getting into my project, and then here is where I can select create a new roadmap or simply create a new project. Now it's a light and easy feel. I can add things to my favorite that are in here. I can also go ahead and bring some of this data up here that I have. And then we're talking about roadmaps. I'm going to go ahead and open up this PPM initial roadmap. I could have also created a new project from scratch there and brought that in. Now, let's take a look here. As I roll out here, I have this PPM deployment project. And what I've done is I've actually created a couple tasks that are on here. And I can start to see some of this information. I also am going to bring in things from DevOps. So let's take a step back. What did we do? Well, I created a new roadmap, and I went in here and added a row. Simply by clicking add a row, here's my row. And now I can actually go in here and connect to, in this case, either Project Online or Azure boards. Now, when I go off and do this, I can see my URL that's here. I'm going into my demo environment. It says, yep, it's going ahead. and do that. And when I want to go ahead and take a look is maybe I want to look at my e-commerce rollouts, okay? And I want to go ahead and grab this sync project. And notice what it's doing here, okay? And I'm going to pause here because it's actually using Microsoft Flow in the background of Roadmap to make that connection. So it's going out and you can see, hey, I'm going to do a trigger. I'm going to say, hey, when they select something, I'm going to go grab this information and I'm going to grab that detail when I go off and connect this information. And it's that simple. When you go off and create these, you're going to actually invoke Flow that comes here, and it's going to be creating those triggers in the background. So now I can come in here and say, hey, what do I want? Well, I want some requirements. Whoops, if I could type here. Requirement, and there's my document requirement, and I can add in document requirements here. There's my phase. I could start looking for the word complete in this case. There's my design complete, and you can see what I'm doing one by one adding this in, and this is nice. So I go ahead and hit add, and here they are under my e-commerce rollout sync. I have this information. Now that this is added, and I actually could, bounce out just a bit so I can see this a little more, is I can go in here and say, yes, I understand there's a status within Microsoft Project Professional, but this is the bigger picture. This is what I want to show executives or external folks within my organization. And I want to say, okay, this is actually a high risk. I want to elevate that, or whatever you'd like in this case. Click on the row, come down here. Why would you want to do this? This is the, play all as I look through and I'd be on a, in a room with you. So why would we want to do this, Paula? And Paula says, well, I don't want to constantly show things moving around in Microsoft Project on that timeline. They don't have access to it. And they're, in this case, just going to want to see a pretty picture. Well, this is a really good way to do that. Okay, and I can show that information in this case. And I could go, say, okay, I actually want some more information and type in some more names. And that's great. I'm going to show you a different way that's going to come in here. This is key, okay? I have my design complete, but you know what? I also have something else. I want to go ahead and add in, okay, here, whoops. I want to add in a key date right here. And I want to put this key date, and this is going to be, we need, it's the closure of, it's going to be the closure of the design cycle 1. And this is key. And it may or may not even be on my project here. And I can come in here and say, you know what? This is July or June 30th here. Put that in. Boom. And we are at risk. So I want to put that in, bam. So I can start putting some of these pieces in here at my roadmap level. So I have my different projects that are coming here. And now I can start to see, hey, are we aligning up with what I need to do here? So very quickly, you can do some of this. Also, being able to share this is quite easy. Coming down here, I just start typing in a name, both internal and external. I'll repeat that, okay? Internal folks and external folks, you can share this information out to. Again, depending on your privileges here with Office 365 and who you are, but that's designed to do this. And within here, you can actually make it a private roadmap or share it with the organization as well. So I was going down here and showing you a bunch of different things, but I also wanted to show you something else that is kind of cool. But I do need to go in and start clicking on everything, right? And seeing, typing in my name. That might, for me, I'm, as folks know me, I like to get things almost instantaneous, okay? Well, what I can do is I can open up the project from Microsoft Project Professional. I can do it over here. And I also want to show you one other area over in the Project Center, because a lot of our users are going to be web-based, right? So let's go find that project right here at my fingertips, e-commerce rollout. If I click in here, I'm going to go see my project detail information. And here, voila, and there we are. I can go now and take my requirements complete, my design complete, etc. Remember what I was saying over here? Hey, there's a bunch of information that I have. Well, I can use my tools, right? I can go ahead and filter, group, sort, okay, on my different flags, my milestones, whatever they happen to be, and only select those that I want. And then look up here, folks. Yes, I can add it to my timeline, which is within my project. But this add to roadmap, how cool is this? Go ahead. Yep, I'm going to work on it. I want to put it in my initial rollout. Okay. What project do I want to put it on? This is the e-commerce rollout that I want to add that sucker. We've just added 3. I don't want to find where that roadmap is. Click link right to it. Up pops my roadmap here, and we've just added 3 tasks to there. There's my design complete, my development, etc. Right onto my rollout. So very huge, big news here, new feature. And for us, really, we're finding with our clients more and more use cases to use this every day. So wanted to show you the roadmap feature here. I also showed the project homepage that I was in here right off the app here. I have a couple slides here, but again, like I said, I wanted this to be more interactive and show you directly how to use the tool set of the new features for project home, project roadmap, as well as the Agile features here. Going back to the home page, I do want to call out just a few items. I talked about it and said, hey, you can see a couple different things here. If I have something here, I can go ahead, this Eagle project, go ahead and hit it on my favorite, and it's up here, shared with me and created by me. So here's my demo roadmap that somebody else had shared with me in this case. I don't have to go searching for it. I just click on it. Here it is. Thank you, Joe and Scott, for sending me this information. It's right at my fingertips, and I can zoom in, zoom out. I can take a look at this and say, you know what, this requirement, it is behind schedule, etc. I'm participating and giving my feedback. Also, we showed how you can share this if you have the correct permissions. Filters, yes, you can go forward and filter not only by owners, but some other information, and then adding row information and key data to our roadmaps. All right, well, I notice I have a few questions here. We always like those, and I'm also going to switch back over to just make sure that I cover the roadmap benefits here for us. 2 questions. Does the roadmap update when project status updates, i.e. finish date or start date are changed? So yes, the roadmap is actually going to pull the 5 things, but really we only care about 4 of them. It's going to pull out the date, the finish date, the start date, the name, okay, as well as the information about who. So it's going to bring all that information in and present that. Okay, it also has an ID that's in the background for reporting, which is pretty nice. All right, review of benefits and roadmap. It's not going to impact anything you're doing today. It's that big picture that we talked about, being able to bring everything in one area, sharing that data, taking screenshots, exporting it, whatever you'd like to do, getting that information out so folks can go ahead and see that. You can go ahead and insert different milestones, live dates that you really want to do, which are kind of cool. And then I also mentioned that this is Flow, Microsoft Flow in the background. We went ahead and did the demonstration, so I'm going to go ahead and skip through there. Just to recap on Project Home, that's where we're able to create new projects. We went through that today. You're able to upload different favorites. When you go ahead and navigate through the office.com area, that's where you'll be able to come in, assign on to you as your organizational account, and that's going to bring up your information to you. Now, if you do get there, you're going to see all your different icons. This is one-stop shopping for everything. In the left-hand area, you saw that I had a bunch of documents. I really use that every day to see what people are working on, but also what I'm just working on. And I can go ahead and select, if you don't see project up here, make sure you do this explore all your apps, okay? And go find that project tile. So I did want to call that out. You go hit this, explore all apps. The next screen that pops up is going to say, hey, I want to do project. Go ahead and click on it. That's going to give you that project tile that I showed you in the project home. So don't fret if you don't see it. You just need to click on it and add it once. All right. Well, I've been doing some talking here. We're just shy about 40 minutes here. Call to action, reach out to us. If you folks have, you want us to come in here and work with you and do a workshop for you, we actually can do some of that. We'll do a planning services for you. Just reach out to us at info@ppmworks.com. We also have a YouTube channel there, so you can go ahead and connect to our YouTube channel. This will be posted up there shortly, as well as several others that we have up there. LinkedIn, yes, please join us on LinkedIn. We have a lot of great areas there and information that you can follow up. If you're searching for PDUs, attention, PDU getters, come up to not only our webinars, but also our YouTube channel, because if you listen to those, you'll actually be able to go in there and create or submit a PDU for each contact hour that you have of us. So that's going to be good for you. And then lastly, our blogs or questions, let us know. We're always looking for something to help you out with, also helps us, and we're very active within the PPM community that's out there. Since I mentioned it, I will pull up not only our YouTube channel here, go ahead and subscribe to it. You can see that keys to effective management are already up there. Great stuff on Power BI. We had some reviews that just came up here and different things. We just got this up and running, the newer version here. So if you've been on some of our others, I recommend you come out here. If you haven't been on here since April of 2019, you're going to want to check this out. All right. Okay, folks. Well, if you have reached out to us via LinkedIn or any of our other sites, we're definitely going to step back and say hello to you. I did have a question about future demo series, so I'll pull that back up, as well as someone asked me about those webcasts. You can find all this on our site at PPM Works Spring Demo Series. The next one that's going to happen is next Tuesday. These are all running on Tuesdays. You'll be hearing from somebody else probably. I will be off next Tuesday, where we're going to take a look at Project Online versus Project Server. So if you have questions there, and here, these are the 4 upcoming webinars to complete the month of April and May of 2019. On behalf of all of us at PPM Works, our great fond partnership with Microsoft as a gold PPM sponsor, we appreciate all that you folks are doing to keep us involved. If you have questions or something new you haven't seen, reach out to us and we'll get on top of it. Thank you and have a wonderful day.